welcome everybody. Thank you for having us again. Evercast is a company that creates software that's used for video post-production. One of our lead engineers, David, is with me here today. The thing that we're really excited about is we're one of those niche players in WebRTC. So we worked really hard for many years. The company's now 10 years old. We did our first movie about 8 years ago, which was the movie Godzilla. And it was the first time that this editor had been allowed to work for the 3 or 4 or 5 months where they're editing the movie, but being able to do it remotely. And normally you have to be on set and you go away from your family for a long time. And so this software was developed to allow a better work-life balance for high-end creative professionals who work for months and months and months on these movies, or years in some case. So we're excited about showing a couple more features that we've done to make things easier for people. We run on all these platforms, proprietary, but also works on the web. And if any of you know the post-production, pre-production, production, post-production, there's a bunch of steps in it, and we've been used successfully in many of these parts of the making of movies and making of TV shows. As of a couple months ago, I think we exceeded 700 feature films that we've been being used on, and countless TV shows as well. So with that, we're going to do a little bit of a demonstration. I'll hand it off to David.
Right. All right, so we should probably get you hooked up at this point.
Yeah.
Vision Pro. You can join us. We're going to do a little demo with him as a director.
All right, you do your part. I'll get connected, David.
Okay, great. I think we have David Zimmerman on the other end here in the room. See if we can get him.
Okay.
So we're going to have to control his screen. Zimmerman, are you there?
All right, so what we're demonstrating is... Oh, I don't want to be there.
You? There
we
you
go.
go.
So what we're demonstrating here... Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Hello, our friend.
Say hi, Mr. Zimmerman.
Hello.
Great. So David Zimmerman is in Phoenix, Arizona right now, and we're in Poland. So David, why don't you show... Diaz, why don't you show how this works?
Okay, so he's running on his end an instance of Avid Media Composer, acting as, say, an editor, and I'm going to take control of his screen. First, I'm going to request. He's going to get a request over there that he's got a grant. Going to show us that. Good. Okay, now I've got permission. Now I'll take control.
Whoa. Yep.
I'm taking control from you already, so I'll let you move that out
Let
of
me
the way.
just pull this over to the side.
Okay, good. So now I can jump around in Avid. You know, we can make some changes. And when he gets annoyed with me, he can kick me out. Go ahead and show us that.
So, Damien, I know that we were talking about this little scene right here.
Yeah, he's
we can cut it out.
Yeah,
We're going to do that separately. Just show us the kick feature, and then he's going to demo from
Go ahead and
Vision
kick
Pro.
David out. Yeah.
Oh, you want me to kick him out?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Real quickly, you just go right here, take back control.
So now I don't have control anymore. Nothing's working. Now we want to see your view, Damien.
If it'll show up.
Yeah, let's make sure that shows up.
Vision Pro can be a little fun. All right. Now switch it over to the other screen, David, because right now you're not showing up. Can you do the remote software so I can pop onto your computer? See if that shows up. So mirror my view. So right now I'm using the Vision Pro, and you guys can see that I'm also in the same room that he's in, and it's using this persona. So our software, is capturing all me on the Vision Pro. Directors use this when they want, what I'm seeing is like this huge screen, and so I'm seeing what they're seeing, but it's sort of like the size of the audience. And if I can mirror it out to you guys, that'd be great. But in the meantime, I can show you guys my mouse control. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab control of the mouse, and I have a little control here. So let's see where I've got. There we go. All right. So if you guys see the mouse moving around, that's following my hands.
Oh.
So, all right,
Oh,
David,
boy.
what were you trying to show me?
Yeah, so in this scene right here, I wanted to take this out because it slows down the pacing. So I wanted to show you. So I just cut it out, and I wanted to show you what it looks like.
No, David,
without-
I don't want to talk about that. I think I want to leave that in. Let's go over here. This is the scene that I was
Okay.
worried about. There's this really long linger on this one guy, and I don't think it's.
Whoa.
I think it's.
What,
Wait,
so you're on
I'm not
controls,
very good with
yeah?
Avid. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that.
There. Okay. No, that's not it. It's the other scene. Hold on. There we go.
yeah.
That's the one. All right.
Want to just real timeline?
There we go. So after
Yeah.
this, right?
Yep.
Okay.
What would you like done?
Okay. So that one needs to be shorter because it's killing the pace. But this is Spider-Man's editor is here, totally in different character, right? And so right there, you see what I'm saying? So I don't think we should have that long a close-up on the guy.
Oh, okay. All right. So you want me to take it out? Oh, wait. Oh,
Just tighten it up.
Yep. Okay.
All right.
All right. How about this? You leave me to cut, and you just direct.
Okay, fair enough. All right, and then I'm going to try and show you guys what I'm looking at. Sometimes the Vision Pro doesn't feel like showing it, but let's see, mirror my view. Yeah, so the cool thing was, for some reason I can't show it onto that one, but in the Vision Pro, I'm able to see that, and I can read like the tiny graphic, like every little bit of the graphics is visible to me down to like the small fonts. We had a director, the guy who's doing Wicked, tweeted about this. So he was using it, and you basically get like almost P3 color space, and you get like a 100-inch screen. And so even though this seems like a really rarefied toy for a lot of people, we found like the 6 people on Earth who want to use this, and and they're using it quite successfully. So but when we were doing this, WebRTC, they were like, basically our clients were like, this gadget's going to come out, but we want a secure workflow immediately. And so we had to get it all certified and pen tested and all the scary things to make sure that you can do pre-production on it. What David recently added was a feature that we'd had a number of people request, which was essentially, okay, you've got 2 people collaborating, but it gets clumsy sometimes where you're like, oh, just give me the mouse, I'll show you what I mean. But we don't, and some people do it in a complete remote where they're using Parsec or other applications. We can skip all that and just like jump right in. So how does this work, David?
All right, so this is under a feature that we call in general App Share. It's part of our Evercast Suites offering. And basically, the basic feature is to control the mouse and keyboard input to a remote screen. This is not a particularly unusual use case, but I think we've done some interesting stuff with it. Sort of like remote desktop, but directly via your video conferencing software, which can be useful. We've got 2 variants of this. One is what you just saw, where you're controlling another participant's local system. Take control, send the mouse and keyboard inputs, and with the permission of the other person, of course. And then we've got another variant, which is a sort of a remote version where we can run a virtual machine somewhere in the cloud and take control of it from any of the participants. We use data channels for low latency, more or less real-time updates for all the mouse and keyboard events. And we have some additional services along with the virtual machine itself to manage the machine, to control permissions, things like that. This is a picture of what it looks like when you're doing the local version. So you've got 3 clients over here that can take control of the screen on the other end. And essentially the messages are going from each of the clients via the Janus SFU to the receiving client. And there are some return messages for permission requests and that sort of thing. This is all via data channel completely. This is the remote version. Our backend, in addition to the Janus SFU, has a sidecar manager that we use to fire up the sidecars that run the remote VMs. They've got a little WebSocket service that allows them to manage permissions and a few other things. And then, of course, the screen share itself, it's running a headless version of the Evercast native client. All right, so what can this do? Basically, this is one application of our client, our native client, which we use on the desktop, but we also have a headless version that runs on Linux and other platforms that we can use for this purpose, no GUI. We set up a display server on a VM somewhere, EC2, or even in a container, running on Linux and X server. We use XVFB for containerized use, or we use a full X server if we need a GPU. And you can also run this on Mac OS or Windows if you want to use applications that don't run on Linux. Some example of applications is we can run pretty much any web app under Chromium. We just put it in kiosk mode. We run it in a container or directly on the bare metal. Something like SyncSketch, which is for remote content review. Frame.io, which is a digital asset manager. We can also run something like a nonlinear editor, which, as you saw before, that was Avid. That was an example of that. We were just at IBC, and there was a great demo at the AWS booth of running an Avid in the cloud into an Evercast room, along with another Avid running locally, and it was very complicated, but it worked very well. Another example is Autodesk Flame, which itself runs on Linux, and you can run that in the cloud on an EC2 instance with a GPU. One of our interesting features is that we support deep color, 10-bit color at this time, and HDR and streams. And one thing you might want to do is a screen share along with a stream from the NLE. So you're running your NLE and you want to see the NLE itself, but you also want to see the preview stream of what it's producing. So then you have 2 streams into the room from the same machine. You can take control of the screen share, and then you can just watch the actual content in higher fidelity.
And isn't some of the metadata for those, you use the data channels to send over the HDR and that? How do you get that data across in our color workflow?
Currently, yeah. I mean, we're transitioning to RTP header extension, but yes, we use the data channel for the color information. All right, so one question here is security. The messages that are used for control are inherently encrypted by SCTP. And basically our security model is that once you're in an Evercast room, we trust you because our authentication is pretty rigorous. And if you get into a room, then we know who you are and that you are allowed to be in that room and allowed to control the screen if it's a supported feature in that room. One of the shortcomings here is that the permission is enforced by the client itself, the sending client, which obviously is not, in an untrusted environment, that would not be great.
So for instance, I was able to take over his screen. The Vision Pro is kind of God mode. And so I was able to just grab the mouse. There was no pop-up. So the stuff that he showed wasn't enforced.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. And then in addition to that, Janus doesn't support data channel messages sent to specific participants. So any data channel message you send out is broadcast and it goes to everyone. which is useful in the case where you want to show everybody's mouse at the same time. So we can have a cursor for everybody controlling the screen like you have in Miro or Figma, et cetera. But at the same time, that means that every message is going everywhere, so that if you type in a password, you could see that. You could intercept that in theory, of course. So some of the mitigations that we've considered, one is obviously implementing selective data channel destinations so that it's not broadcast to prevent the message from being intercepted. We could do some sort of key negotiation between individual participants and encrypt the messages themselves. And we could enforce remote control permission on the receiving end, which is obviously we do that partially in some cases, like for example, in the case you saw where you're controlling the other person's machine, they have the option of kicking you out. But we could do that for all control messages. And we could use some sort of client identity verification using a signed token of some sort.
This becomes interesting. We're releasing a feature early next year. So if you guys have all used Figma and some of these modern apps that have a sort of follow the leader mode, or a mode where everybody can disconnect and kind of play with the content independently, but then they can reconnect and say, I actually want to follow what that guy's doing. We're implementing that and using a similar architecture. You'll get that experience of if there's 10 people in the room, you got 10 mouses. You know, the mice are everywhere. But if you want to go, okay, I'm taking control, you all have to follow me, or you go, you know what, and so one of the features I'm super excited about is like, you know, if we were all looking at a PDF and you guys are like, I read a lot faster than this guy talks, you guys could just go next, and then you can go back to checking your feed or whatever. And then, but the, guy can plod along. And if you're like, no, I want to follow, or, oh, I'm too far ahead and he's talking. Now I want to snap back to where he is. So these are some of these features that we're using. There's a lot more collaborative, synchronization, and it's much more like a multiplayer game. And we're using WebRTC, obviously, because of the fact that, it punches UDP into a web browser.
Correct. All right, and just a little aside here. So we've been talking about uses of the Evercast client. That's one of the primary use cases is app share. But we also use the Evercast client for recording. We fire it up in graphical mode on a server, and we connect to the room, and we record what's in it. We also have, this helps with, because we don't just support WebRTC, we also support streaming files directly from remote assets on a DAM, a digital asset manager. So if you were to just record WebRTC streams, then you wouldn't get that information, but we support that using our client, which inherently supports those types of streams.
Last year there was a talk where they were talking about using GStreamer and like kind of analyze the different ways that you could do a recording, but because we already use basically non-WebRTC media, and then we're increasing our use of that in order to get that perfect playback of like, well, what did everyone see? We have to do, we basically took our client and did a Linux, embedded version sidecar.
Right. Thank you. I was hoping that you could get to see the Vision Pro on the screen,
I think
which
I
is
know
unfortunate.
what it might be. It might be that it defaulted to Ethernet. That's my guess as why it's not showing up. But I'm going to see. A network. This is my one try, and then otherwise we'll let you go. So where's network? Network. Wi-Fi connected. No, it's Wi-Fi first. There's no Ethernet.
Yeah.
Right? Give me one more. It's punched
You
in
wanna
there.
try,
and then
native?
what's that app?
Reflector.
Reflector. Oh yeah, it's right there. Give me one more chance. Demo gods, I pray to you. Okay.
We're essentially airplaying to the MacBook Pro, so that can be a little
Mirror
bit
my
finicky.
view. There we go.
There it is.
All right.
So
Boom,
I think
boom.
Zimmerman is probably not in the room anymore. But
Okay, we'll see if you can pop him back in if you want to chat with him. So this is what I see, and then if I go back, hold this down, here's my really huge Evercast. So it's cool. I see that in front of you guys. All right, I'm back in the room.
We can get him.
Mute me. And then let's see. No, it's so intimate. One thing you'll realize when using these Vision Pros is it's just, yeah. Oh, there we go.
There he is.
Hi there.
Can we see your Avid?
We want to go back.
We want to go back.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Or you're not. See if-
Yeah, give me 2 seconds.
Okay, pop in.
Okay, pop in.
And it kind
It
of
actually
remembers,
where you are.
Like
Like if I walk over here and I go,
Oh, there it is.
oh, there it is.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you resharing?
Are you
David?
resharing, David?
In a second, my Avid crashed on me.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Demo guys.
Demo guys.
Well, they let us get
one part of it done.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's a common experience.
And I'll use this to say, so one of the features of our company is we have 24/7 support, which is kind of needed in our industry. And we spend a good deal of our time like supporting other people's software. As one could imagine. It's just sort of like good bedside manner.
All right.
All right, it's coming in right now.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay, good.
Okay,
And
good.
You can see
And you
there's
can
my
see
God
my God
mode
mode controller. Boom.
So what
So
I'm doing is I'm dragging this
little
thing around. And wherever I drag it, that's where I go. So if I want to play this, I pop it there.
You can imagine this is pretty big, but in his view, it's taken up most of the room, right?
Yeah, it goes to like here to there. It's hard to explain, but I mean, you guys can kind of see me. Oh, that's cool. But I can read all the text down to America, Phoenix, Los Angeles, New York, London. Oh, you got the time zones. It's an editor thing to need. Oh wow, I didn't know I could control his whole computer. Oh,
Yes,
that's
you
great.
can.
Oh, that's messed up. All right.
We trust you utterly.
Yeah. All right, that's the demo, guys.
Thank you very much, Damien and David. Are there any questions from anyone? Gentleman over there.
Hello. Just looking at your setup, it's very much a traditional VNC setup at the gist of it. And looking at your stack, being quite familiar with it myself, I'm noticing that there should be quite a bit of noticeable latency when using it. And latency is something that's very non-tolerant in applications that are interactive, like VNC. What are some steps that you've taken, and what are some steps that you think you might be able to take in the future to minimize this latency in the stack that you've chosen?
Okay. Not sure if you wanted to say anything because I can't see your eyes.
You go ahead. Yeah.
Well,
I'm gonna go in a
one
snowstorm.
of the points of Evercast is that we require a low latency, high bandwidth connection in the first place. So just by the nature of the connection, it isn't much of a problem. One of the things we do is we use AWS features that allow you to connect globally from wherever you are and get routed directly to the instance where we're running our SFU, which reduces latency quite a bit. So you're running on the AWS network as much as possible. We try to keep the server itself as close as possible to the user, which is mostly the West Coast of the US, since we're talking about Hollywood largely. Although we have a lot of customers in the UK and Europe as well. So we put servers in the various regions to keep them close, reduce latency. And in terms of AppShare itself, we run the VM right next to the Janus instance. So the latency between the Janus instance and the VM itself is pretty much negligible. The whole latency is from the end user to the Janus instance, approximately. So that keeps things
I want to throw in,
tight.
so one of the things we implemented as well to reduce that latency is a concept of app share, where we ran a sidecar next to the Janus instance, so another EC2 right there, and then we ran some web apps on it. It was really interesting because it obviously cuts your round trip time, and this was the one he was talking about where we had a request from a client, can you please run, was it Nuke in the cloud? Or what was the app that we were being asked to run in?
Flame, Autodesk
Flame. So Autodesk Flame in the cloud, and then everyone had half the latency because it's running cloud and we're going straight to it. What you will notice, like you said, it's an ordinary VNC, and I kind of started to stress about that because we use VP9 as our universal, but it's sort of like everybody's dialed in and expects that, and so we're not doing anything clever about like, well, that's actually a user interface. We're doing none of that. It's pure VP9, so it's assuming natural images. But that's okay because the money, the thing people care about is the talking heads and the video. And so if it's kind of a little blurry on the text, it doesn't matter. And then if I go back to like one of these controls here, like grabbing this, your mouse is always going to lag, but this is, up to, where would the server be? Would this be Oregon?
This one, yeah, I think we're running in, West
So this
Coast.
would be AWS West Coast. So the packets are going straight there, and then they're going to Phoenix, and then so forth. Zimmerman, what's your ISP? Do you know who your ISP is? Maybe he'll text us. But bottom line is that's what we know about that.
So this is about the highest latency you're going to get because we're going halfway around the world to move the.
Awesome. Thanks for your answer. And just for inspiration, I feel like this is a use case where it's very similar to cloud gaming. So if you're ever looking at this problem in the future, papers published and talks given by people who work on cloud gaming would be very, very useful, I think. So,
Thanks.
Any other questions from anyone? If not, let's give a final round of applause for today.